let me say this. What I'm sharing now is, I'm representing and I'm speaking for Jonathan Orr. I'm not speaking for all black people, uh, all black men, or I'm not speaking for all Christians right now. This is just kind of where I'm at and how I got to this point. Last week we set our kids down and we set them down to share with them sort of what's going on in our country, what's going on in the world, and when we share with them what happened with George Floyd, my 7-year-old son immediately broke out into tears, sobbing, and then repeatedly saying, "I thought after the last time it was over. I thought this wasn't going to happen anymore." And so that broke my heart. I think because again, it's 2020. In the 1940s, I've heard stories about what my grandfather had to go through as a black man in Alabama, and my dad has told me stories about things he's gone through in his life. I have my stories of experiencing racism and racial injustice and incidents with my kids already. Our oldest is 10, and here my 7-year-old son is, and having to process this when he shouldn't have to. So that was frustrating. I'm frustrated and angry that I can't even go for a run at night without my wife and mother being terrified that I won't make it back home. This is America. I went for a run a couple weeks ago, and my wife begging me not to go because it was dark, and called my mother, and they're literally begging me not to go for a jog in my own neighborhood out of fear that I might not make it home. And that's frustrating. So, again, the perhaps the most frustrating thing with all of this for me is that oftentimes the problem seems so big, right? We know that it's a lot of the issues we're facing go back centuries and centuries, right? And we're still seeing the results of slavery and unfair laws and unfair practices and systems of oppression. Like, it just seems so big, and oftentimes for me it's like, okay, what can I do as a person, right? As one person, what can I do to make a difference, to help eradicate some of these problems? What's my role? But I've been praying these last couple of weeks, and just praying and asking God to show me what some things that I can do as one person to start making a difference. And kind of what I got is that we all have a sphere of influence, right? Like I'm not a police officer. I'm not a politician. But yet in my sphere of influence, I can still be a voice. I can still represent and stand up for what I believe is right. So that's what I'm going to do. And so even more practically, one as a first and foremost, as a follower of Jesus Christ, man, I believe that at all costs, it's my responsibility to still walk in love, right? That doesn't mean being passive, letting people get away with stuff, but still making sure that the way I move, that the words coming out of my mouth is still laced with love. Like, that has to be the intent behind my motives, right? And then again, praying against resentment in my own heart. I don't want to get so angry to the point where I'm harboring ill feelings towards another human being because of what's been done to me, what's been done to black people. I don't want to get to that point, man. So it's important on an individual level to make sure that I'm allowing God's love and grace to still capture my heart, so that I can then share and spread that with others. And then it's also important for me to make sure that the message that I'm conveying is one of unity, right? One that is bringing people together as opposed to causing more separation and division among people. There are a lot of good people. One of the things I believe and realize, there are a lot of good people who want to stand up and fight against the problems that we're facing. And so I think it's going to be key for us to mobilize those people, right, to work together to tackle these issues. And so so the messages that I'll be conveying will be one of unity moving forward. Secondly, I mentioned that I'm not a politician, but yet I can vote, right? Like and not just for president, like I can vote. Like every election where I have an opportunity to help put people in that's going to make decisions on behalf of our communities, on behalf of our country, on behalf of our states, our cities, every opportunity I have to put people in positions that's going to help us to move forward and be solutions as opposed to part of the problem, I have to take advantage of it. That's my responsibility as a citizen of this country, right? It's my responsibility as a black man to which we didn't even always have these rights, right? To exercise my right in a vote and make sure that I'm backing and supporting those who are going to support the efforts and the legislation and the things that need to get done so that we can solve some of these problems. I'm responsible, for myself. I'm responsible for my family. So ensuring that our children are aware of what's going on, but that they don't fall into despair. They understand the truth about themselves, that they are that they are just as important as every other human being on the face of the earth. They're no better than anybody, but understanding that their identity comes from Christ, making sure that we instill that in our kids and understand that they should be confident in who they are, and understand that God created them, and that alone gives them all the innate respect and self-worth and value that they need, their identity that comes from Christ. And so that's what I'm going to do, my wife and I, on a family level. And then as a professional, right, in my sphere of influence professionally, to make sure that I intentionally speak out against injustices, speak out against racism, speak out against unfair and unequitable practices. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I could tell you, although the last few weeks have been hard, I am optimistic. I'm excited at the possibility of change. I know it's not going to be easy, but seeing people come together, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. The last couple of weeks, people all over the world, different nationalities, different different colors coming together, man, different religions, all standing up against injustice. See so many young people tackling this issue. I'm feeling real confident and optimistic that we will see better days. Just wanted to share that. Thank you for listening, and God bless.